Recently, there has been much discussion in traditionalist circles regarding the Frankfurt School. This was a very influential group of theorists who inspired a particularly successful movement of applied Marxism. Even in his own lifetime, Karl Marx attempted to apply his theories in revolutionary action. When Marx published the Communist Manifesto in 1848, he was a leader of the Communist League. However, these early communists failed in their revolutionary attempt. Marx fled into exile and wrote Kapital and other works. The first school of applied Marxism was revisionist Marxism, founded by Edward Bernstein. Revisionists advocated revolution through parliamentary gradualism. Their tradition endures in the social democratic parties of Western Europe. Marx himself rejected the Social Democrats. Most famous are the Soviet Marxists, Marxists who, as Bolsheviks, seized control of Russia in 1917. They are Marxist-Leninists. The Frankfurt School, through its Institut für Sozialforschung, founded in 1923 at Germany's University of Frankfurt, developed a type of applied Marxism quite different from revisionist Marxism and Soviet Marxism. The Frankfurt School developed Freudo-Marxism, a theory which synthesized the theories of Sigmund Freud and Karl Marx into one corrosive, subversive force directed against Western civilization. Marxism, after Marx, who died in 1883, developed in response to failures of Marx's prophecies. Revisionist Marxism arose when the working class failed to become poorer and more militant as Marx had predicted. Marx had also predicted that the workers would develop a sense of international solidarity, would come to see that they had no fatherlands. However, when World War I erupted in 1914, the workers first saw themselves as Germans, Frenchmen, Englishmen, and so forth. One great triumph for Marxism came out of the First World War, the Bolshevik seizure of power in Russia in 1917. The Bolsheviks, or Leninists, said that the revolution had failed in Western Europe because the capitalists in those nations had bribed their workers with loot stolen from their colonies. If revolution did not arise everywhere, according to Lenin, it could only be because colonialism and imperialism. In the late 1930s, the term racism was added. Bolshevism briefly seized power in Hungary and Bavaria in 1919, but soon lost it. In Italy, Marxism suffered an even more stunning defeat. A former revisionist Marxist, Benito Mussolini, became a renegade and developed his own variety of nationalistic socialism, which he called fascism. The fascists totally suppressed Marxism. The founders of the Institute in Frankfurt, observing fascism in 1923, were quite alarmed. How could the working class go so wrong? Why did so many workers behave in an irrational manner? They concluded that the mass psychology of the workers had to be considered. They believed that the new theory of psychoanalysis, Freudianism, with its emphasis on irrational impulses and drives, would help explain why the workers had accepted fascism. Although the Frankfurt School had some tenuous links with Soviet Marxism, most notably through a Stalinist named George Lukács, they largely followed their own line of development. Thus, they were able to penetrate into the center of consciousness of the United States through the mass media and certain areas of higher education. Until 1933, however, the Frankfurt School was active only in Germany. The rise to power of Adolf Hitler, another National Socialist, whose movement was even more ethnocentric than that of Mussolini, forced the Frankfurt School into exile. They moved en masse to the United States and established the Institute for Social Research at Columbia University.